Serious, strippers of Reddit. What do you really think of the people that see you perform? Was male stripper for a bit? My opinion, it's all types for all reasons. Passing judgment on folks generally just makes you less approachable. There are good folks who like gyrating naked people but are awkward socially and have lots of money. Creepy is still creepy. Considerate is still considerate. Only difference is I'm not wearing pants. Ex-stripper. The guys that came in and knew the deal were great. Tip the girl on stage. Get a lap dance. Be polite. The worst were the guys that thought they were smarter than the strippers or that they could somehow game us. Like, one guy I remember went on a whole rant about how smart he was because he could tell it was all fake and the girls weren't really attracted to the men. Yeah dude, you're a genius. Or when they think they're funny by degrading the women. It's not funny and you're the one that looks bad. Honestly, for the most part I didn't think about the guys much at all. I was on autopilot most of the time and didn't judge them any more than thinking who looks interested in a private dance or who was a douchebag I wanted to avoid. You get your share of creeps, but mostly where I worked, a long time ago, a lot of young groups of guys just looking for a good time. Every once in a while you have someone who has too good of a time and gets rowdy and acts like an idiot. Granted, I only work 2-3 nights a week. People who dance full time, especially during the day, have a whole different kind of crowd to deal with. But customers are generally all the same, just looking for something to distract them from life for a while. Feels like a lifetime ago that I danced. My husband and I go together now every once in a while to get a private dance for a while, and it's way more fun being on the other side. I love the young guys who just wanted to have a fun night out and were also respectful. Was lucky enough to come across a few groups like this during my stripper years. Ex-stripper here. Of course I encountered all different types, but I am here to mention one type in particular, my favorite. There were a lot of customers who were lonely, or didn't have anyone to talk to who would really listen to them. They figured out that they could come in and pay for company. I would sit at the table with one of my regulars for a few hours and just talk. I made a point of showing that I valued them as a person and was genuinely interested in their conversation. He knew that he was taking up my time, and every so often would hand me another bill. I didn't pity them. I respected them for figuring out a way to engage with other humans and satisfy their need for connection. Generally depends on what kind of customer that person is really. The best kind is the dude who understands that it is all a game. They tip well, they are sociable and polite, may even be regulars with certain girls and are never a problem. The entire club staff loves guys like this. The ones that the dancers hate, the I don't pay for dances guy who thinks that line will somehow make him desirable for dancers. Captain Save a Ho, his trademark line goes something like, "You are too beautiful, smart, amazing to be doing this. If you get with me you can leave this behind." The pimps that go around asking the girls if they want to make some real money are real pieces of crap as well. Then there was the ones that I really had a personal dislike for. The dudes who would try and wait in the parking lot at the end of the night because Cinnamon and I really had a connection, you know. She told me to wait for her. No she didn't, buddy. If Cinnamon told you that, she did so knowing that I would be kicking everybody out of the parking lot before the dancers left for the evening. The strip club industry is a weird place. Source: longtime strip club bouncer. The strip club near me, the bouncers pick up and drop off the girls in club-owned vehicles to avoid a Cinnamon type situation. Depends on the person. I've had stalkers follow me home, creeps who tried to get violent with me at work, people who pee me off. I've also met some really wonderful people I'm fine with calling my friends. I just had a baby and invited 2 ex-customers to my baby shower in June. Ex-stripper here. Most of them were cool. We had one old guy named Cummer Steve that would get dances from the new girls and whip his dong out and jizz in their hair. He always had $300 in his wallet that he would hand over before they made him leave. Occasionally a douchebag would come in, but they got handled pretty quickly. I once had a guy hold up a $5 bill and ask what he could get for that. I cheerfully snatched it out of his hand and told him that he could watch my butt as I walked away. Edited for more context, as some people are super riled up about the $5. This guy grabbed my butt as I walked by. I suspect it wasn't the first time he'd done it. I shoved his hand away from my body and told him that if he wanted a dance, they started at $10. He then held up the $5 and asked what he could get for that. His options at that point were pretty much get punched in the dong by someone, curb stomped on his way out by the guys at the door, or lose $5. I think his friends were relieved as he had been a total butthole all night and he behaved himself after that and no one got kicked out. About as much as I've thought about the people I interact with in any other service job. Sometimes guys seem lonely or delusional and that can be hard to deal with, but otherwise as long as you aren't smelly, prejudiced, pushy or wearing sweatpants you're good with me. I've dated like 4 strippers, some for a few years. I think their opinions were mostly that the dudes were chill. There were the he tried to shove his finger in my pee so I broke it nights. The he got a champagne room for 3 hours with 3 girls and fell asleep so we got drunk type nights. Indian dudes seemed to do the weirdest crap. A couple dudes just got naked in the lap dance booth or champagne room and got kicked out. One, my girlfriend said she left for less than a minute to check in with the bouncer and returned and the dude was naked and had nicely folded his clothes next to him. Weirdly sweet but horrifying. They threw him out naked. The thing I noticed though is that after a few years most of them really started to low-key hate men. It's just generally they get exposed to men continually as their worst or most frisky. I think it ended up being toxic. This seems very true. I've had a handful of friends in college who stripped. One hit the jackpot and ended up a Vegas showgirl. Got a degree as a nurse but a 6-figure job as a dancer. The other stuck with stripping for various amounts of time. And the longer they stuck with it the more jaded and cynical they got. My girlfriend used to be a stripper. From what she's told me, as long as you're respectful and polite they aren't thinking much about you at all. More likely to be thinking about what they're gonna have for dinner later. Strippers for bucks parties or strippers in clubs? Strippers at bucks parties don't usually hang around long enough, 20-30 minutes max, so interaction with guys is limited to just during the show. You mainly hear guys in clubs more so want to chat because they are either lonely, like the attention briefly, or become regulars and make friends with the girls. What strippers really think is about the money. At every job you go to there is always the same personalities, they just look different. You have the arrogant guy, the nice guy, the shy guy, the funny insecure guy, the drug addict, the alcoholic, the drunk touchy guy, the guy who thinks is super good looking and you should want him, the narcissist. It's more so about the different roles the stripper can take on when working for all of the above guys. Counselor, best friend, cleaning lady for when he spills his drink, the comedian to make them laugh, security guard for other girls, the dominatrix because they want to be playfully hurt in some way. The list goes on. The more you spend stripping you more learn about social psychology. A friend I met when I was studying psyche, I ended up changing majors, was actually dancing for just that reason. She said you never see a person more real than when they're in such an emotionally charged setting. She credits stripping for more of her psychology knowledge than classwork. I hope I'm not stealing the question since I was just a server at a boobs and wings place, which a lot of people, myself included, sort of consider junior level stripping. Same as most of the other answers here in that most everyone was cool, a few jerks here and there, but what struck me was how many older, lonely, divorced, widowed or single guys desperately needed to be around female energy. They were all so sweet, polite, courteous and more often than not generous. If they could afford it, some couldn't and that was fine too. I always got the impression they came to our place because it was there. We could have been selling ice cream wearing 50s housewife attire and they still would have showed up. It wasn't about the skimpy clothing at all to these guys, just the chance to be around women who knew their name, their job, their story, etc. It always made me very happy we were there, but sad that society seemed so disconnected that we were maybe the only place they felt comfortable going where they wouldn't be judged for what was simply a human need to be around other people of the opposite sex in a non-sexual way. This is a very insightful post. It's a human condition. Most of us are hardwired with a desire for balanced social experience. We may occasionally want a guys gals night, but spending too much time either alone or only with members of the same sex is socially stifling. I used to have a girlfriend who was a stripper, and sometimes I'd visit her at work and hang out with her and her co-worker buddies when it was slow. One time when we were doing this, another stripper sat down with us and said, "Cool, I just got 10 straight lap dances with Bob." I asked, "Which one is Bob?" No one said anything. Then one of the girls giggled, My girlfriend said, Jeremy, they're all Bob. A woman I know referred to any random guy she met as Bob, or any guy she knew when we talked. A girl, went to a strip bar one time with a friend's bachelor party. The only ladies' bathroom was back with the girls. I went back there and it was hilarious. They were crap talking all of the customers, and just let me join right in. They were a blast. I had so much fun the rest of the night. Most of the people there are just coming for a good time. You get your occasional creeps who you're giving a lap dance to and they flat out try to shove their hands down your front, but it's all fine and dandy. There's always a bodyguard just around the corner. The one thing I love about working at my local strip club is the younger ones who are always so shy and timid. I was giving a lap dance to one boy with the cutest little face and he didn't know he was allowed to touch us everywhere besides the crotchware and butthole. So when I took his hands and set them on my butt, he started freaking out a little bit by stuttering and saying stuff like, "Is this allowed and I don't know about this." He became a regular after a while of showing up with his friends, and he always smiles at me. Somehow stories of guys like that give me hope that the whole world isn't crap yet. Thanks for that and best of luck. I dated a stripper for a while. No, we didn't meet at the club. We were 18 and she looked super young. She liked some of her regulars, but she would often get married guys in there and she absolutely hated them. Not that she wouldn't take their money, because she wanted to just have fun and not worry about ruining people's marriages. She also disliked the people that were old enough to be her dad, because there were a lot of old creepy people who would proceed to show her pictures of their kids who were around her same age. In general though, as long as people tipped well and didn't make things awkward, she seemed to really enjoy most of her clients. Also, never ask your stripper out. She probably doesn't like you. And also don't propose to them because that makes it super awkward. They're just people. No one proposes to cute girls out of the blue. There's no way to handle that situation that ends well. Would often get married guys in there and she absolutely hated them. Would be kind of a ghost town there without them, don't you think? It just depends on how they behave. Wanting to have a good time and be around nice, pretty girls and see some titties is perfectly normal to me. What makes me not like them is when they don't understand what I'm there for. Customers who understand that I'm providing a fantasy experience in exchange for money are the best. I don't mind if they want to flirt, talk dirty, or squeeze as long as they stay respectful, playful and are paying me accordingly. Customers who think they can do or say whatever they want to me without tipping, or because they threw a couple ones at me, are the ones I don't like. And the customers who think just because they're giving me money I no longer have boundaries. If you're not tipping, or only tipping a little, don't try to grab me when I walk by. Don't make nasty comments to me. Don't sit at the stage and stare all night and only tip $1. And even if you are spending money on me, there are things that I am and I'm not okay with you doing, which I will happily explain if you ask before you try it. And don't waste our time. We are there to make money, so if a dancer sits and starts talking to you and you're not planning to get a dance, tell her that. Just give her a couple dollars for the conversation and politely say you're not interested. Don't let us sit there trying to hustle you if you know you're broke. When customers are respectful and having fun, I have fun. When they're gross, rude or broke, I don't. I danced at a biker stripper bar, where most of the girls look like Suicide Girls models, covered in tattoos, piercings, were dancing to music like Avenged Sevenfold. You get the picture. About 3 years ago, most of the customers were older bikers, but we were near a college town, so lots of younger kids would come in too. I was younger than pretty much everyone that came in or worked there. I was in college, and I wasn't even old enough to drink yet. I don't think there's one uniform type of person that visits a strip club. I've met lonely, angry men that come in seeking a therapy appointment with a side of lap dance and affection, because that's what they're lacking in life. Other buttholes come in and watch the stage the entire time and don't tip, just keep ordering drinks. Those guys suck. The only people that I was immediately wary of were women at the club, visiting with their boyfriends, because they would often get jealous very easily, or with a group of bachelorettes, trying to get on stage and make the show about themselves. I had a few great regulars, some who weren't too bad to talk to, but there were the fair share of buttholes. People who tried to steal their money back after tipping you, people who point out your insecurities or call you names, people who try to cop a feel where they know they aren't allowed to, etc. As a male, I asked a stripper this same question. She said it's just a job. It's their fantasy and they pay for it. Some of these guys are lonely. Some have wives, girlfriends at home who don't give them the attention we give them in a 5-minute lap dance in 5 months. Then you have all the others in between. I think it depends. I see all of the guys as potential for money. If you're rude to me or if you sit at the bar and don't tip, then I think poorly of you. The only time I went to a strip club was with friends after a casino trip. I didn't have much to start with but lost most of what I brought. So I hung at the bar because I didn't have a choice. It was either bar or stage, and I wasn't about to watch performance and not tip. Not personally a stripper, but I had a good friend that was a stripper, and since the club she worked at had a great lunch buffet, I'd go and visit her often. She would hang out at my table between sets and after a while a lot of the others would as well. A lot of the conversations would turn to their opinions of the men that came in. Yow. That really turned me off from going to clubs. They basically thought of the guys as stupid cash machines, and would laugh at the ones they would get to pay their rent, car payments etc. when they wouldn't do anything. That is, they would show them some affection and talk to them outside of the club, but wouldn't have any sexual interactions. Years ago, when I was made my rounds in the clubs, I heard several girls refer to regulars as PLs, as in pathetic losers. Club furniture is the go-to where I'm from. Ex-stripper at clubs webcam. Some of the guys were actually pretty hot but I made a rule not to contact them again. A very sad day was when a guy I knew walked and that was embarrassing. Yeah, as a guy that used to frequent strip clubs it sucks seeing people you know. I drove girls for a little while. Dancers for private parties. Every girl is different of course, but even more true is that every interaction with every customer is different. Just because she liked you once, or didn't like you once, doesn't mean that dynamic can't change. But it rarely would for the customers that weren't polite, even if they were generous. Had a friend who stripped for a while and she said the worst thing about were the gents who would practically beg for sexual favors. She's had to have men escorted out more times than she could remember because of it. One guy she watched even get arrested because he was so angry he was told no. He grabbed her, put her on the ground and then hit her. On mobile, so please excuse my horrible format and possible autocorrect mistakes. Former stripper here. I danced from 19 to about 27. Most of the guys coming into the clubs were just there for a good time. These guys wanted to drink, laugh and waste money. Harmless fun, except for their wallets. Then you get the lonely guys. This is a whole different animal. They are there because they pay women for company and friendship. Someone to listen to their stories. And yes, some of them wanted dances, but many of them paid me hundreds of dollars to sit and chat for an hour. To really listen to their problems and what is happening in their lives. These men usually are divorced, widows, or bachelors well past their prime, with nobody at home, save for a dog or roommate. The regulars are a different crowd. Typically older men dress nicely but not overly so. They walked straight to VIP as their preferred waitress scurried off to fetch them their usual drink and dancer combo. You knew which ones liked you, who would buy a dance from you and who would just get you a drink. All in all, I don't judge the men who paid my bills for the majority of my adult life so far. They have been all different kinds of people. Yes, some were not good humans. Some stank. Some were rude and others handsy. But many were funny, generous and just wanted to forget real life for a moment. Burlesque dancer here. I do both ticketed shows and tip-based shows. At ticketed shows, we often get screwed by the producer. We learn quickly to be picky, but people have already paid a $10.30 ticket for general admission and more if they have a VIP table. In both tip and ticketed shows, audience members often forget that we live on tips. But at those shows, we either get people who can barely afford the ticket and their drinks, or we get ballers who throw $20s. There are buttholes and rad people in both. Rad people appreciate the show, are fans of the performers, or are in the community. Buttholes think we're moving props, have a bedroom upstairs, or are gonna get lucky after the show if they tip or buy us a drink. I've been working as a stripper for 2-3 weeks now, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but most of the time they're fine. My club is super interaction based, so you usually have to spend some time getting to know these guys. and a lot of them are regulars, and the regulars are almost always great. Older men who just want a real and honest gal half naked to talk to and give them attention. I put real and honest in quotes BC. Oftentimes I'm lying about my age and sexual experiences, but besides that I'm mostly myself. The absolute worst freaking men are the young and entitled ones who think they're hot crap and expect free things because they are the best looking ones in the club. Once I had a guy approach me, tell me to convince him why he should get a dance from me instead of this other girl K. Already a bad start. And I told him that I don't have any sort of pitch. He should just get a dance from me if he wants to. He agreed, went to the lap dance area, and then decided he wanted a dance from his second option girl instead. After that, he decided to get a dance from me anyways, and then he told me the whole time that I didn't even like him because I wouldn't break club rules for him. Like, yeah dude, I don't like you. You're an entitled prick trying to manipulate strippers who are smarter than you for like $20 fricking. Congrats for figuring it out. Whole time was talking about how he didn't have that much money now but he was an investment, and the other girls who were smart knew this. Idiot. Ex-stripper. The guys who behaved were awesome, and my favorite customers, the guys who came in and thought that by paying me, I owed them, were the worst. I had customers who believed that because they paid me for a lap dance it meant they could touch me in the non-safe zones, or because someone tipped me, I would go to their hotel rooms. Just because I'm a dancer doesn't mean I am a toy. I'm a human being with thoughts, emotions, and my own reasonings for being there. If you treat us well, we will do the same. Treat us like crap and we will tell all of the other girls, and you'll be avoided like the plague. I have been to only one strip club, fairly recent, in Atlantic City, NJ. I saw dudes basically wadding up $1 bills and throwing them at the girls like it was a game, aiming for buttholes, etc. And no, the girls weren't in on the whoever hits my butthole while I'm dancing wins game. I'm assuming this is not standard. If so, that makes me sad. Atlantic City's just a shithole. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.